Hello, and welcome to Plugged In, Communication Tools for Black Brands. I'm Jerry Towsley, Head of Marketing for Business Wire, and thank you for joining us today. As the global leader in Newswire brand content and distribution, our team at Business Wire is excited to share insights about the important role of strategic communications for Black brands of all types, all industries, all sizes, with all kinds of goals and missions. Whether you're a business owner or in the business of communications, you're in for a treat today because our expert guests will be presenting perspectives from their very unique experiences as entrepreneurs and professional communicators. Before we dive in, I'd like to cover a few very important housekeeping items. First of all, this webinar is being recorded, and we'll share the recording link by email after the webinar, so keep an eye on your email inbox. Also, all listeners are muted during today's presentation to ensure we have a smooth session with no distractions. That said, we do want to hear from you. We will have time toward the end of this webinar to answer some of your questions, so please type them into the Q&A channel. Be sure to use the Q&A channel, not the chat channel, but go into that Q&A channel as many times as you can with your questions. Also, please join the conversation or on X or Twitter with hashtag plugged in. That's hashtag plugged in. All right, our webinar moderator today is Bernadette Morris, CEO and founder of Black PR Wire and Sunshine Communications. So I'm going to turn it over to her now. Let's get started, Bernadette.
Thank you, Jerry. And hello, everyone. Happy Black History Month. Thank you so much for joining us for this empowering session. As Jerry said, I'm Bernadette, and for 25 years, Black PR Wire has been delivering the news to our media, our businesses, influencers, and organizations throughout the United States and the Caribbean communities. And with great partners like Business Wire and many of you who are joining us here today, we will continue to build, inform, and grow in an accurate, positive, and favorable way. Now, we all know that strategic and effective communication tools are critical components and essential for each and every one of our brands and our brand's success. So whether you're a startup business leader or a seasoned executive, the one thing that's constant is change. So be ready and let's get plugged into what we all need to know for optimal success. Now, in recognition of Black PR Wire's 25th year in business, I'm offering each registrant who stays on for this entire webinar a 25% discount on any service you use for Black PR Wire now through the end of March 2025. But I'll provide those details on how you can get that discount in the chat room later on. So sit back, relax, let's get started and have an excellent conversation. This year, we've brought together an expert panel of brand champions to offer candid conversation and to get you and keep you plugged in to effective communications tools for your successful brand and service. These brand champions include Dexter Bridgman, Andre Kay, Nicole Kirby, Candice Nicole, and Denisha Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get plugged in. Our first panelist is Denisha Smith, McDonald's franchisee and president of Shine to Inspire. As a McDonald's franchisee, Denisha has been featured in publications such as Rolling Out, The Atlanta Voice, the Top 100 magazines, plus outlets including Fox 5 Atlanta, CW69, and many more, discussing mentorship, business ownership, and community impact. She's a proud alumni of Clark Atlanta University. Denisha credits her HBCU experience with inspiring her mission to empower youth and future business leaders. She's partnered with organizations like Morehouse College, Georgia State University, and the city of Clarkston to create impactful programs. Denisha and her husband, Andre, co-founded Shine to Inspire Scholarship of Excellence to support aspiring businesses and hospitality professionals. Together, they champion initiatives that promote entrepreneurship and community responsibility. Welcome, Denisha. We're so glad you're here. Joining us also is our next panelist, Nicole Kirby, CEO of Carver Communications Group, a leading public relations strategist. Nicole has over 2 decades of experience in corporate communications, philanthropic, and diplomatic sectors. Known for her expertise in strategic marketing, in branding, and crisis management, she represents high-profile clients across business, politics, entertainment, and sports. Her firm, Carver Communications, has spearheaded campaigns and partnerships for many organizations, including the Afro Media Group, Morgan State University, and Howard University Athletics. Nicole has also played a pivotal role in social justice initiatives and collaborating with figures like Attorney Benjamin Crump, Reverend Al Sharpton, and many others, and as a leading press conduit to amplify efforts for victims in the Trayvon Martin and Freddie Gray. With a reputation of delivering impactful results, Nicole continues to shape the industry through her innovative strategies and dedication to excellence. Her personal motto, I make it look easy. She does. Hi, and welcome. We're so happy to have you with us today. Next, I'd like to introduce our third panelist, Andre Kay, founder of Socially Buzz and co-founder of Best Date Ever. A true trailblazer, Andre founded the world's first social media agency launched in 2008. He is an acclaimed entrepreneur and a serious innovator. Under his leadership, the company has earned recognition from Entrepreneur Magazine as one of America's best entrepreneurial firms, and he was named among South Florida's most influential business leaders. A dedicated philanthropist, Andre leverages his success to drive global impact. With a forward-thinking approach, he's exploring transformative technologies like metaverse, artificial intelligence, blockchain, and many others, aiming to shape the future of the digital landscape while fostering positive social change. Andre, thank you so much for being with us today. Our next panelist is Dexter Bridgman, CEO of MIA Media Group and founder of the Black-Owned Media Alliance. Dexter is a media pioneer and a mastermind behind the largest distributor of media content celebrating the achievements of Florida's Black community. Established in 2004, the company operates across the digital broadcast platforms, publishing Legacy Magazine, Legacy South Florida, and MIA Magazine. The Legacy publications focus on business, politics, education, and culture for South Florida's Black community, while MIA Magazine highlights luxury, lifestyle, entertainment, and partners with major events like Jazz in the Gardens and the American Black Film Festival, to name a few. MIA Media Group also produces 6 weekly television shows aired on WSLF Channel 39 and distributes a digital newsletter 3 times a week. A New York City native and Hofstra University graduate, Dexter is a proud Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity member, an active civic leader, and an award-winning advocate for cultural arts and philanthropy, where he shares with his wife, Michelle. Dexter, thank you so much for being here with us today. Now, last but certainly not least, our next panelist is Candace Nicole, founder of Candace Nicole Public Relations. Candace is an award-winning publicist with 17 years of experience creating impactful campaigns for businesses and brands in entrepreneurship, film, tech, and more. Known for her expertise in multiple areas, such as brand management and media relations, she has worked with high-profile celebrities from Spike Lee to Tika Sumpter, and many of her clients have also been featured in Forbes, on The Today Show, on BET, and in Black Enterprise, just to name a few. Candace is committed to inspiring and empowering others, and she combines her social media, marketing, project management, and content creation expertise to generate solid and sound results. A proud graduate of HBCU's Morgan State University, Candace is also the founder of Respect the Publicist, a network for PR professionals and journalists. She has been recognized as one of the HuffPost's top 25 African American publicists and was named to Q City Metro's The Power List, Black PR Professionals to Know. Welcome, Candace. Are you ready? This is a powerful group of sisters and brothers who are here with us today. So, welcome all of you for joining us and thank you again. We're going to start off with Denisha. Denisha, as someone who has grown from owning a franchise to several, how has the way you've managed external communications changed?
Well, that's an impressive introduction. Thank you so much for having me. And what better time than during Black History Month? Thank you, Black PR Newswire, Bernadette, and team. I'm honored to be here. But to get to so I'm Denisha Smith. I am a business owner here in Atlanta Metro. And my husband and I have a number of different things as Bernadette said. The biggest differentiator, and I don't think that there will be any surprise by what I'm about to say, is social media and AI has changed the game, especially as it relates to external communications. And what I would also say, those are tools and applications. But for me as an individual, being both an entrepreneur, social entrepreneur, and a business owner, I am representing a brand, which definitely impacts the way and how and who I market to. So the fundamental things will be social media. We didn't have that before. We used traditional media, radio, advertising, print, you name it. And now I would venture to say that 70% of our outreach to our communities is through social media. I know some of the social media team that we work with is on this webinar today. And really what it's allowed us to do is to get very personal and customized. And so we leverage a lot of the insights to know what our online consumer wants. And the other thing that I would add is speed, or what I call fast, flexible, being able to adapt and to change the message, and consistent while staying fluid are the four components that we leverage that we historically have not leveraged because of AI and social media.
Thank you. That is great. Great response and great information that you've just shared with us. And that leads us to move into our next question with you, Andre. Your business has grown significantly from its origins. What advice do you have to offer?
No, absolutely. And once again, thanks for having me as well. Similar to what Denisha says, change has been a huge part of, or consistency has been a huge part of how we grew, right? And one thing that we focus on is adapting to change, right? When to accept it, when to learn from it, and when to do it before everyone else, right? That's been a huge part of our growth model. And what's new? How do we engage ourselves in it? And not only just for ourselves, we have to learn it for our clients as well. So you have to learn how is this going to impact our clients, how it's going to impact our business, how it's going to impact our customers as well. So just understand those dynamics. It's not just about us as a company, but all the clients we service as well. So we have to be ahead of the game when it comes to anything technology, social media, and so on. So that's been a huge part of being able to try new things. When something is coming in, how do we take it and how do we learn from it? So that's been a huge part of our growth model.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. And managing day-to-day business operations and communications quickly become much more, of course, than a full-time job. And that's why in both of your cases, I know PR agencies come in handy, right? So Candace, you've worked with a number of clients from small businesses to corporations, plus some high-profile celebrities as well. What would you share with someone if they're on the fence about working with a PR agency?
Oh my goodness. And that's my son Grayson. I apologize. I was telling everyone he was supposed to be asleep. I tried to clock everything, but he's up, so you may hear him. So I would say this for anyone that is on the fence of hiring a PR agency is exactly what is on the screen right now. If you're on the fence, then I actually would say, and here's the thing, it's not like a black and white situation. You can do a little bit more digging, right? To try to figure out why you're on the fence, but really it's perhaps you're not ready, right? And the last thing that you want to do is not take the time to take a step back and think about, why am I on the fence? And then going ahead and hiring the PR agency, and then you're ruining a potential, a really great partnership, right? Which has happened before. We've had that with our agency before, of where, and I would say, Candace, next time, why don't you speak for the individual? Because as someone who is possibly being hired, we sometimes know, I don't know if this is the best fit, right? But you see the potential in the client, because the last thing you do is have a relationship go sour that did not have to be, if they were honest for themselves. Now, yes, you can give them more additional information about the benefit, right, of hiring a PR agency, of course. But if they are still asking certain questions, and all of us know what those questions are, then perhaps this is just not the right time for them. Like right now, doesn't mean that it can't happen 45 days from now, 3 months, 6 months. But at this moment, no, because they need to just take a step back and really think about why they are wanting to hire.
And I want to chime in quickly on that. I think Candice is truly correct. It even happens in social media, right? And I'll give you a real life story. This happened to me literally yesterday. So this business trying to reach out to me back in November. I was like, hey, I want to work with you. Da 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 da. I'm like, great, let's work together. I was like, they never responded to me. I'm like, okay, cool. Yesterday, text me my phone number. Andre, I need you right now. I came to my agency and I was like, stop. Nope. We're not gonna do this. You're not gonna rush me, right? We stick. So exactly what Candice is saying, like step back, know exactly why you want to hire that person, right? PR, marketing, whatever the case may be. And then so we could do our job properly, right? So we could do the right thing and not we're boxed into this thing to create. Yes, we could be able to probably execute on it, but I want to execute on the right way. So that was like real life. And it happens so often that I was like, no, if something goes wrong, they're gonna come and blame us for not doing the right thing. So I absolutely agree.
Absolutely. Oh,
Bernadette.
perfect messages. Denisha?
Hey, I agree with both Candace and Andre. And for us on the nonprofit or the social entrepreneurship side, for me, it was not having a PR representative was not even an option. So for us at the very beginning, because we were an unknown brand and we really wanted, and that's not my expertise, for me, that was the strategist that really needed to be at the table with how are we going to build our brand? What channels do we use? And so just a different perspective. For it was never on the fence. It's how do I build it? And PR has got to be a critical part of building an unknown brand, if you will.
That's right. And it helps build that success as well. And you
Correct.
go hand in hand together. So that's why it's critical and important. Thank you for sharing that. So, Nicole, a question for you. With the abundance of news in the world, and we know there's a lot out there right now, catching the eyes of journalists can be tough. What do you recommend to your clients when it comes to issuing news releases and connecting to and with the media?
Thank you very much. And again, thank you for having me. That question is such a pivotal question that if you don't have thick skin and you're in the area of public relations, perhaps you may need to take another look at what you're doing. Because when you start talking with a client with regards to press, and the question that you asked me about is about earned media, not paid media. Paid is when you can pay and you can get it anytime you want it as long as you have a budget. But earned media is something different. And as a PR practitioner, and you're sitting down with a client and they say, I want to have a press campaign. That's when you have to sit down and first have a best practices strategy conversation with your client. What is it you want to have a press release about? Why do you want to have a press release? Is it a good time that you want to send out a press release? What makes this press release that you want to send out different than what 50 other people in the same market is sending out? So you've got to have a conversation and go backwards as to the why it's important to send out a press release. One, because you want your client to look good and you want to get results. But two, as a PR person, you've got to follow up with pitch calls. And if your media outlets know that you're always sending them something that makes no sense, has no pull, doesn't help them get ratings with their Nielsen ratings, then your name becomes lower on the TikTok with regards to how they take your calls. The second thing is understanding with your press release, is it a local release? or is it national? What type of news can this press release actually garner? And again, that means you're having a tough conversation with your client. It's tough, but it's real and it's necessary. Also, the last and final thing, if you're looking to send out a press release, and all of a sudden you are doing a press release that has other partners, other quotes within the press release, and one of those persons that are mentioned in the press release has an issue, may not be so good. It's a little dark spot. That's when you also want to have a conversation and say, listen, if you want to partner with this brand or partner with this person, it can now fall back and damage your brand. So those are all of the tough conversations, but really necessary conversations that you have to have with your client before you send out a press release, period. And I don't mince words with that because it's very serious.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good wisdom and good knowledge to have. And now we're going to go over to that other side and hear from someone who's on that end, who you're pitching that story to, who you're pitching that information to, someone who receives those story leads. And that's Dexter Bridgman. Dexter, as your team receives these pitches and this messaging, what helps you pick a story to develop, and what do you look for? What does the media look for to receive that story?
Okay, great question. Just to go back to what Nicole was just saying, there's a difference between a press release and an advertorial. You know, as someone that is in media and on the other side, it has to be a differentiation between the two, and it has to be clear and concise and distinct. If this is nothing more than an advertorial with some words to it, then you know what? I'm not doing it. And 90% of media, black, white, red, or green, will not do it either. But to answer your question specifically as it relates to my organization and my company, my editorial mission is that we editorialize the success and the achievement of the Black community. So what is attractive to me are articles or interesting information that has nothing to do with violence, that has nothing to do with derogatory imagery of the Black community, but all positive messages. And if you have a story that you want to pitch to me, or you have a client that you want to pitch to me that is doing these wonderful and great things, and again, everybody has their own editorial mission. That's mine. This is mine. And I don't deviate. When you turn on ESPN, the world could be falling apart. I mean, the war between Russia and Ukraine has been going on for a long time. Not one mention of that war on ESPN, because what do? They do sports, and they do it very well. What do? I editorialize the success and the achievement of the Black community, and guess what? We do it very well.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And building on that, I know MIA Media Group focuses on sharing and celebrating the Black community here in Florida and South Florida and really all over, because you highlight and focus on just wonderful people doing wonderful things. You do that via digital and broadcast platforms. Share your thoughts on the role of Black media and the importance of building partnerships between Black-owned media and businesses, if you will.
That's a really, really great question. But before I answer that question, I'm going to ask a question to our audience. And the question is, audience, how many of you do business with Black businesses or Black media? I will tell you that 100% of my editorial is towards the Black community. And I can tell you that the organization that I helped to form, BOMA, which stands for the Black-Owned Media Alliance, we're all about educating and informing our Black community. Collectively, we probably get 1% of advertising and marketing and sponsorship from our Black-owned businesses and our Black community. So we're not trying to necessarily, this statement is not necessarily trying to put anyone down. It's just trying to to create the consciousness. As they say, the heart is a window to the soul. We are, in terms of Black press, we are the windows to the Black community. We educate, we inform, we all of the information that we provide to our community is, as they say, is the best that can be offered. And when you heard about fake news in the media, no one was accusing the Black-owned media about fake news. No one, because we represent you. We represent our community, and we want to make sure that everything that we put out there, regardless of your editorial direction, is accurate and informative and truthful.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much,
I'd
Dexter.
like
And
to
thank you
add to
for,
that.
please do, please do.
Yes, and Dexter, thank you for bringing that up, because in addition to posing the question with regards to media outlets, there's also an issue with regards to publicists and public relations professionals who handle and manage people who what we call high caliber, type A level type of persons, whether they're entertainers or in politics. Because I've hit several instances where I've needed to get in touch with someone to be on very important, critical conversational panels. However, the person, the handler, the publicist for that person was out of touch with the importance and the relevance of the conversation we were having. And so there was a barrier. And so you now have to break down that barrier and educate them. So it's also important for our athletes, for our entertainers, for our artists of all kinds, when they get to a certain level, who's in their circle that can understand when there are critical needs that need to be addressed, that they may need to be involved in that voice of action. So again, Dexter, just to piggyback on what you posed with regards to Black media, I also wanted to piggyback and say that also spills over to Black publicists and public relations professionals.
Appreciate
Absolutely.
that. Thank you.
Absolutely. And as you're showing on that slide, Dexter, that relationship between the Black businesses and the Black media and the general businesses as well has to really be intentional. And we have to make sure that we continue to do that. And Dexter, as you asked that question, there were a lot of comments that came across where people said that, yes, they are a part of supporting Black media, and others that said they hadn't had an opportunity to. And I'm sure a lot of questions are going to come out as a result of your asking that question when we have our Q&A session for all of the participants. So thank you again, and thank you for sharing.
Look forward to answering them.
Absolutely. Now, this question and thought is to you, Nicole. For business owners, part of being plugged into the digital world is understanding the importance of digital marketing and social media. So, Nicole, as a digital marketing expert, what's your tip-top business suggestions for business owners for tracking and measuring the success of the digital campaigns?
That is so difficult because there's so many points of access that you can use nowadays that are available. But to me, it is relevant to the size of the company and how much knowledge the CEO or the person that you're working with understand and put it to its importance. If you're a smaller company and you don't have a big budget, even having a PR professional is the right step. But now how do you take it to the next step so they can see the ROI on having you? And so I always tell them, don't try to compete with someone out of your market. You can start small with Hootsuite or Google analysis and keep it within your budget. If you are a larger company and you have real-time analytics that you need to drive on with real-time engagement with regards to website, e-blast, social media postings, then you can go out and you can spend a larger budget with even companies like Cision or Metwater or things of that sort. But those are the things that I like to say, look at the company that I'm working with and try to keep those third-party analytics that help us gauge the growth on social media within their budget.
Right, that makes perfect sense. And Andrea, you know, I'm going to roll over to you now because Socially Buzz helps business owners grow by leveraging that social media marketing. And why is it important for businesses to have that social media presence? And what's the best way for someone to get started if they, you know, are just afraid of the social media platforms and have strayed from the social media platforms of the past?
No, absolutely. So I think the biggest part about that as a business is, as I said before, is adapting to this change, right? Is knowing where your customers live and how am I going to get closer to my customers? And looking at this is what I call the K market method, is a simplified way how I break it down to clients and just anyone that's interested in what should I do from a marketing standpoint. Marketing is super simple if you understand the basics of it, right? And how I look at it is this spectrum, right? This line. On one side is your business. What makes your business unique? What makes your business special? Why should you stand out from the 50 smoothie shops along the way, right? What makes you? There's something about your business that makes you stand out. I don't care what it is. There's something, right? And then that's your business. And on the other side of the spectrum is your customer. Who are the people? Who are your tribe? Who are the people that's going to actually talk about you, share you? Who are those people that's actually looking for what you offer, right? For example, let's say that you run an exercise business, a fitness business, right? And you only do fitness at nighttime. I will be the perfect person because I can't work out in the daytime. I work out in the nighttime, right? So you need to find me. You don't need to find everyone that wants to work out. How do you find me? So your business, your customer, everything in between it is marketing. Because now you know, okay, if I need to find Andre, I need to use this type of messaging, this verbiage. Andre's spending more time on TikTok versus Instagram, or I'm targeting professional. Andre's spending more time on LinkedIn. So now you know where to invest your time, your energy, and your money because you know how to get to your perfect ideal client. Everything else is noise that's welcome, but you're saying, this is my value. These are the people who are looking for me. And then this is how I get to them, right? Utilizing marketing, utilizing the right messaging, utilizing the right content strategy. So that's the easiest way as a business to think about how am I going to execute marketing for my business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. And pivoting over to you, Candace, with expertise in so many diverse fields, entrepreneurship, film, tech, nonprofits, on and on and on. What are your go-to communication strategies for success across all of these sectors? And on the flip side, have you seen a tactic that doesn't work well and that's most suited for a specific industry?
Such a long question. I was like, when you were saying it, I was like, I'm gonna have to ask her to bring it back. Okay, the first part is what is my go-to?
Communication strategies for success. What are some key strategies?
Well, the first things first, of course, is creating the strategy, right? For the client. Breaking it down of the objective, basically, what are we doing? What is the outcome going to be? Looking at, KPIs, also working on brand messaging. What is their mission, right? Why are they even embarking on this journey? So I would say definitely just creating the strategy that is part of like the go-to. But then also it is then doing research like on the client, like where are they currently? Is there like a competitive analysis that we can go to, whether we can more so create to figure out what is going on when it comes to say that the competition, right? I know some people don't like to talk about competition, but I do think it's smart that you do know what other people are doing, within your industry. Don't try to mirror exactly, but just be aware. um and then of course, when you get to say the media relations side of it, it's it's the story. When it comes to say like your go-to, it has all these different pieces here, but then when you get to the actually pitching of the story, you have to find the outlets that are, of course, in alignment with the client. And then I would actually say of situations that are different is that this one story really quick, we were working with this CBD client. Now, naturally, we learn about the client, do the research, craft the story, and then we begin our outreach. However, in this situation, we had to pivot just a little bit. And at the time, Clubhouse, hey bud, Clubhouse was really popular. So we opened up a room, and it's because when we were reaching out to the media for the CBD company, we were not getting the responses. So it wasn't, say, like our standard outreach to the person. Hi, baby. Sorry, you guys. Our standard of what we would do before, as far as communicating, with media outlets, we had to go to Clubhouse. We had to open up a room, and I actually had to talk directly to the media and basically say, why aren't you responding to our emails? I didn't know if it was that she was a Black woman in the CBD business, right? And this was something, new at the time. I want to say that was like 2020, 2021, but we had to do that. So that was a situation of usually what our standard way of doing things as far as coming up with the strategy. We had to, make some changes at the time.
Absolutely. So key go-to tools are making sure you know your audience, making sure you know what who your client is wanting to reach out to,
Yeah.
and then connecting successfully with that audience so that you're as effective as you possibly can be
Yes.
in what you're sharing.
And also what they have done before or tried to do. That is also
Exactly.
very important as well.
Exactly.
And here's the thing, just because they said, well, we already tried that, that doesn't mean you can't try it yourself. Because it is different. Because that isn't, say, their zone of genius.
Absolutely.
Respectfully.
Absolutely.
We're
Absolutely.
the professionals of what we do, and we'll say, okay, you try to do it this way, but maybe they said, but I reached out to this person and we're thinking about it. Well, that person talks about restaurant openings, right? And you have a beauty, product or whatever. So we'll go about it, differently. So I would also
Exactly.
add that too. It's very important to know what the client has tried before as well.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I know, Denisha, on the various scopes of the work and the things you've done, you have the philanthropic initiatives in place too, which I believe, and I'm sure we all know, is very important. It's important to give back to our communities, to help empower others. Plus, your customers and customer value just builds and grows as you're doing that. Are there differences or similarities in how you spread the word about your organization, Shine to Inspire? How do you share that news and information in addition to the businesses that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. Wholeheartedly, and I'll make it short. So, on our for-profit side, I'll call it that. We have an engine, we have a machine, the titan of marketing and advertising, because we're supported by a corporate organization that does a lot of that for us. Where 3%, almost a little more than that, of my gross sales budget goes to marketing. So it's a very different outreach, very different strategy. As I mentioned earlier, with Shine to Inspire, which is our for-profit and our philanthropic arm, it is a build from scratch, which is why we call ourselves social entrepreneurs. And so our approach is, we don't have the big budgets like Nicole talked about earlier. And so the way that we do outreach on the social entrepreneurship side is, I would say, 4 to 5-fold. Social media, we talked about, that has been our biggest amplifier or mouthpiece, and really driving and looking at the analytics on a weekly basis. What's working, what's not, who our customer is, what part of the world. And that's why I like social media. And that's why I say fast, fluid, and flexible. It allows you to do that real time, and connect to anybody in the world. That's one strategy. The second would be, because we're local, but our goal is to go global, we leverage a lot of our current relationships. So I can't underscore enough the need for what we call social capital. So our educational institutions, our investors and our partners, our social and political partners, we leverage significantly to talk about who we are, what we're doing, and we focus on outcomes. What impact are we having? Because we're mission driven. So those would be some of the ways that would be very different than, let's say, the McDonald's side or our for-profit business, that we are building our business and our message and our brand organically.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you, Denisha. And thank you to all of our distinguished panelists for joining us and being a part of this remarkable webinar. Each of you have seriously plugged in to each of us much needed, valuable communications tools for our brands and our services. And to our webinar participants, I hope you enjoyed this portion so far. There's more to come, so don't go anywhere yet. We still have some more time with you. And I hope you were able to take away some important strategies and hopefully implement them in your respective industries. Now, this time, we're going to open the floor for questions for our esteemed panelists. So I hope you've been able to submit and write in your questions in the Q&A box below. But as mentioned, any questions that aren't answered will be once we're done at the conclusion of the webinar, and they'll be posted up as well by both Black PR Wire and Business Wire sites at a later time. And also make sure you check the chat room for that discount code to use when you want to post your release on Black PR Wire now through the 31st. It'll be 20 get percentage off. I won't sneak out and tell you all the details yet. You'll find out. So Jerry, do we have any questions ready to share from our audiences? Take it away.
Certainly do. We have some great questions. I'm going to start off with a question for our agency panelists. A very simple question. Omari wants to know, what's the best way to find a PR firm, and specifically maybe more information about Black-owned PR agencies or media companies? Anyone?
Can I?
All right, Candace.
Okay. So definitely Google, I would say, is your best friend, because you can get on Google. And I say Google because actually a lot of people have found our agency through Google, actually saying, I'm looking for a Black woman-owned PR agency. So because I was on this list in 2017 on HuffPost, that actually, it still gets us business. And that was in 2017. And so I would say Google, and actually put, search what you're seeking, put that in there. If you're looking for it in a certain, area, definitely put the city there. Definitely on social media. Also asking some individuals as well. If you're, a business owner, probably you may have other business owners around you that may have reached out to a publicist or a PR agency before. So ask them for some recommendations. And then social media. Go to that search, area and type in Black PR agency. That's why sometimes in my post, the hashtag that I utilize is hashtag Black PR agency or Black publicist, because I know that's another way that people have found us or found our page on social media is through the hashtag. So just ask, please know that we are here. It's always very concerning when I hear individuals say, I could not find any Black publicist or agency. And I'm like, how can that be? I know so many. And yes, you may say, well, Candace, you're in the industry, but I promise you, I can get on Google myself and type it in and it comes up. Just do your research, do your due diligence, and then go from there. But we are here.
In addition, for those who are part of this webinar series and others, we at Black PR Wire have compiled and will be publishing the list of the Black media, the Black agencies all throughout this country. So feel free to always look online or give us a call, and we'll share that information with you as well. And strategically, there is the Black-owned Media Alliance and other groups, as well as Black Chambers and the U.S. Black Chamber that also has the list of the Black publicists, the Black media agencies all throughout the country. So there's ample ways and opportunities, and we'll be more than happy to assist you.
Okay, great answer. To follow on to that, Philip has asked, from your experience, what are some of the most common communication mistakes that Black-owned businesses make, and what resources or training can you recommend to help avoid those pitfalls? Anyone? Common mistakes.
Hi.
Your clients, your own business?
Ooh,
Yes,
Hi.
Nicole. Nicole?
yes.
Okay, Denise, is it me or Denisha? Me?
Nicole, yeah.
Go ahead, Nicole.
Okay, great. Well, here's the thing. A common mistake is to overpromise. And I always tell all of my clients, I'm not going to overpromise anything, because nothing is promised, particularly in today's climate or all the time. But you don't want to say that you can be all to every client. You cannot. So when you sit down with the client, they're interviewing you and you're interviewing them. Your success as a business owner for them is to know what you can handle in the capacity. One of the first things that I do is I want to sit belly to belly with the client, because the first thing you want to ask yourself, do I like you? Do I see that you operate in integrity? Are you operational? Is this fun, or is this business into fund management and making things happen? Because when you know that you're stepping into a business that already has best practices laid out, that helps you as a business owner and a person who's being hired to produce success, puts you in a place to have operational values and a foundation with to launch up on. So that's the first thing. Meet with the person face to face. Never overpromise anything, because I cannot promise you anything. I can put out things that I know that's going to move us to success. And in my agency, that's the first thing I discuss. And I always tell all of the other companies, everyone that I sit down with, interview other companies. You may not like me. You may not like how I operate. So as you're interviewing me, I want you to interview other companies so that you can come back and say, that is the company I'm sure I want to work with. Because having a PR agency is like a marriage. We're talking every day. And I get really dirty with them. I said, we in bed every day. We talking at 8 o'clock at night. We talking at 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm seeing you on Saturday nights. So if we, first of all, don't have a level of understanding that one, we like and respect each other, we cannot move forward. The other last thing that I have to point out is that you have to like what the company is doing. If there was a company that was hiring me to do something I didn't believe in, I can't work with you. Period. So those are the first things that moving in that allows you to have a level of success right off the jump. I'm throwing it to you, Denisha.
I appreciate that. And I want to build on that. That's what I call fit. And I've learned the hard way. I will be honest with you. I'm not sure who asked the question, but fit. And so really understanding work style in my experience has been really important. And Nicole's already talked about mission and value alignment, really believing in one each other. But let me give you an example of that. I am an early riser. I like data. I'm very data driven. And I know some folks on this call will understand that. And I like information all the time. And I have worked with several agencies or individuals that I didn't hear from them in 2 or 3 weeks, and was told that I was a micromanager. And so I think fit is really important. I won't cover some of the other things Nicole talked about. The other one where I will tell you has been a pitfall is not doing, and Nicole did mention this, your research on whoever you're highlighting in your press release. And I'll give you an example. We had a gentleman, and especially in our mission-driven philanthropic side, we had an individual that was an influencer that that was doing a lot in the financial literacy space that we were really excited about because we thought he would connect with our demographic. The challenge is we didn't do our homework, and there was a lot of bad press around him, which almost became a distraction from the things that we were trying to do. So what I'm saying here is really doing your homework. If you're bringing other folks into your press release, or any type of advertising you're doing, really understand who you're working with and, kind of quote unquote, getting into bed with, because it can distract from what you're trying to accomplish.
Can I just add one
Great.
thing?
Dexter, sure.
Yeah. Just want to say integrity. Guard your reputation jealously. That's all you have. And sometimes you only have one chance at it. As someone being where I am, and when I say being where I am, being a media owner, we get pitched a lot. And people have a tendency to oversell themselves and their level of success. And you know what? That'll only get you in trouble across the board, anywhere and everywhere. And we will find out eventually, as if we are interested in doing an article or on this particular person, we'll find out that this person is embellishing. And when we find that out, we drop the story. Simple as that. So honesty, integrity, and as I said, just guard your reputation jealously, because that's all you have.
Good answer. I wanted to follow up on that, Dexter. I'm curious, from the media side, you talked about the positive stories you're looking for, but what are the stories that grab your attention in your crowded email inbox when people are trying to get attention in a crowded marketplace? What are the stories that grab your attention and that work for you?
Well, I will tell you that, people always tend to think that just because we're, we're a Black community, or that everyone is born into poverty. You know, there's many of us that are born middle class, and some of us that are born with silver spoons in our mouths. But what really does it for me is when I find out about someone who's been self-made and who came up from nothing and has built an empire, or has been who is now whether you're an entrepreneur, very successful entrepreneur, or you're a very successful corporate person or doctor, lawyer, whatever profession that you may be in. But if you came from nothing and you had no help and no assistance, and you just worked hard, and you just just kept grinding until you are at the top of the mountain, those type of stories just tear at my heart. And those are the type of stories that we find very, very interesting. And we want to hear. People have a tendency of, as I said, selling you on what they are today. Oh, I've never had a bad day. I'm sure we all have. We're all successful businesses. I certainly have. Life is about ups and downs. Hopefully you'll have more ups than downs. But 2008 was to 2010 to 12 was a very, very hard time for me, as with any business. And you can't tell me that companies bigger than me went out of business. So tell those stories of how you were able to persevere and how you were able to survive. That's what makes you different. I can go on forever, but I'll stop there.
That's great. We've had a couple questions about either nonprofits or small businesses on limited budgets. Can some of you agency experts talk about some strategies for clients that have limited budgets and how to try to grab some attention? Candace?
Yes, so I would say so limited budgets. If you did have a budget, I would say still reach out to a publicist and say, hey, we have a limited budget. However, we are in need of, say, a communication strategy. The budget is $1,000. Let's just say, have no idea. Because everyone's definition of small is different. Someone could say, well, we have a small budget of 10,000. And a publicist is like, okay, well, we can maybe do like a few months of, work with that. So reach out to them and see if they will consult with you. However, you guys, just please keep in mind that you have to do the work, right? That's the thing. So a lot of us, we are willing to work with you, to consult you, to have, say, an intensive, a strategy session and create the strategy for you. And we send it to you. We'll even explain how to navigate, but you have to execute. And I always seem there's like a disconnect at times of where, well, this is all we have and I need someone to do X, Y, Z. You have to be fair. If you're looking for someone to actually do the work, you have to know that you have to pay them, just like if you want someone to pay you. Even if, you say you're in the corporate world, you want to be paid for what you're doing for your job, right? But if you're on a limited budget, just know that you can hire for someone to consult you, to give you the strategy. You just have to execute. Make sure that you are following PR professionals. Who are they following? What are the different software that they speak about? I know I talk about Quoted. It's QWOTED. Upload yourself on there as a source. And if you're a mental health, therapist, they always have a lot of queries that come out where they're looking for somebody to provide some insight on something pertaining to mental health, right? And so that is something that you can do, and it's free, you guys. There are a lot of different things that you can do. Search the hashtag journal request. Even reach out to the media and say, hey, I would love to be featured in Essence. Read to see who's talking about mental health awareness. Find their email, find them on LinkedIn and say, introduce yourself. If you are ever in need, I see that you've written about XYZ stories. If you're ever in need of a source in the future, I'm over here. This is stuff that you can do for free, you guys, but you have to be willing to do the work. So if you have a limited budget, just know someone can assist, but you need to do the work.
And what I normally say to businesses with that is like, one, it's three things, right? One, you have time and no money, or you have money and no time, And if you're lucky, you have time and money, right? So if you have time but no money, do the work as Candice said. Go out, do the type, do the reach out, the emails, the DMs, go do it, right? But if you have no time, but you have the money, then you hire a PR agency like Nicole or Candice or even myself from a marketing standpoint, or get paid to featured in different magazines like Dexter and so on. But if you have the time and money, then you're able to now, if you want to invest the time in doing the things yourself, you can, but at least you know you could also hire the professionals to do what they do best. So that's how I normally break it down for businesses.
Hi, Jerry. I want to jump in real quick.
Sure.
Bill Gates, you've seen this quote all over the place, and he said, if I had one penny to spend, one less dime, one less dollar to spend, he would spend it on PR. So let me tell everyone here on this webinar who's a business owner. McDonald's, you know what their French fries taste like, but they still market, they still promote, they still advertise. So if you want to be in business, you have to have an engine behind you that's going to help you drive your brand every single day. A PR agency is going to help you do that, and it will help you do that in different levels. One day your CEO needs to be on a panel. We're looking at your website. We're making sure your social media ads and promotions are always out there. That's what a full service PR agency does. But if you are not ready, if we pull up your website and you got stuff on your website that was 6 months ago, you didn't take and you didn't change it. You got an old address on there. You got wrong emails. You got old pictures of staff that no longer work with you. Don't call us. Get your house in order first. So then we can take you seriously. And if we see that you're serious, if you have a $1,000 budget because of passion, we may say, let's rock and roll. Let's get it done. I love what you're about.
Right.
Let's go.
Jerry,
But
it's
if
a
we
mic
look
drop
and
from Nicole.
if we look and
It's a mic
see
drop.
that you don't have your house in order, don't waste my time.
Right.
Because $1,000 really in the scheme of things, it's a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money in business.
Mm-mm.
So before you pick up the phone and you have this bright idea, all of a sudden you want to call a PR agency, first show me that you're real.
Right.
Show me that you're about the business. Mic drop.
All right.
Drop.
Amen.
We'll
Preach,
end
preach.
that inspirational and
Pass the
challenging.
plate on that one.
Yeah, that's great.
I
Want to thank our moderator, Bernadette, for inviting all of these inspirational guests and panelists to join us today. It's been a great session. I want to remind everyone that attended, first of all, thank you for attending. Here's some important contact info. Follow up with Business Wire, follow up with Bernadette and her team at Black PR Wire. And again, we will be sending out a link to everyone who registered for today's session, a link to the recorded webinar. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for being here. And thank you once again to our expert and inspirational panelists. It's been a pleasure. And thanks everyone for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Have a great day.